Hi, welcome to Off Script. I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Today on the show, we're taking a look at F1. The dad movie of the year is here. We're excited to talk about it. It's also Joseph Kosinski's new feature, Top Gun Maverick. All right, we went and saw it in IMAX. Big screens. Big action. Excited to talk about it. We're also going to take a look at K-Pop Demon Hunters. I think people might be writing this off a little bit on Netflix. I worry people will see the thumbnail and they'll think, what's that stupid K-pop movie they watch next to F1? No. This comes from the people who make Spider-Verse, Sony Pictures Animation. It's legit. I swear, stick around for the review. We got like 7 trailers to talk about. It's actually 5 trailers, but they're big trailers, dude. We got trailers for The Running Man. We got trailers for The Freaks with Yorgos Lanthimos and Bugonia, Project Hail Mary. We got a Can movie in there. All kinds of good stuff. Stick around for the trailers in between our reviews. Before we get to all of it, we need to talk about the news. And before we talk about the news, Andy, I got to know, what have you been watching this week? What's been on your cash watch list? The cash stuff, the casual watch list.
So a mix of TV and movies. I started The Bear season 4. I'm about 3 episodes into it, and honestly, I'm struggling a little bit. And it's not a long show. They're half-hour episodes, and it's just not very interesting right now. I feel like they've, if you've kept up with the show, all of our kind of dysfunctional characters have grown a lot and are no longer dysfunctional, and they're just kind of boring, which I think is a problem of the writing. If you heal your characters and then they're no longer interesting, I think that's not a great thing in the writing department. I'm going to try and get through the rest of it. It's 10 episodes, and I'm struggling to press play on the next one. I just heard just now season 5 has been greenlit for The Bear, so it's going to continue. But I think it probably should have wrapped up in this season. But it's just going to keep going.
I feel like I'm struggling to press play on the first episode, and it's not because I am not interested in The Bear. I love The Bear. Yeah, the first 3 seasons are great. I'm just like you. I couldn't stop watching. But like they still do this binge model thing where they drop them all at once. So there's no like hype. All the good memes for The Bear came out 2 weeks ago. Like I just feel like, I don't know. I missed it and I got to get on and watch it. But now it's like a body of work. It's like an assignment. You know what I mean? Like if it's one a week, I could take my time. I could sip it like a fine wine. You know what I mean? Get in there, make my moves. But if it's all at once, I got to like sit down and watch it all in one go. And that's like a whole thing. And I'm just, I don't know. I'm stuck on it is where I'm at. But not good so far. That's how you feel. You don't know if you're gonna finish it?
I mean, it's just kind of fine. It's just not interesting. I also feel like they've introduced too many characters at this point, because in the beginning of the show you had a few main characters, some supporting characters, and they all kind of got an episode with their story where they expanded, and now there's just kind of too many characters to do that. It's just kind of hard to keep up with and care. So yeah, it's just a lot going on. I'll see. I'm going to try and finish it. I also watched the extended edition of Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, as I'm going through my watch through. This was a little bit harder to get through. The pacing, I think, is really off with the extended editions because they're just, it's not cut like a razor the way a theatrical release is. And so, like, some of the battles just feel like they go on forever. The first half, I think, is a little easier watch than the second half. But it's one of those things, I think, if you're a fan, it's nice to watch once or twice in your life. But I prefer the theatrical cut of these.
Yeah, as I get older, I'm starting to come around on theatrical cut. Obviously, there was a time when I was younger and Lord of the Rings was just so cool, dog. And I was like, the extended versions are the only way to watch them. But now it's like, do you really need the extra half hour? Because the theatricals are incredible. They're great, right? They're very tight pacing. Yeah, you miss a couple cool details, but like, I don't know. For the casual you watch, I might chase down the theatrical. I don't know if extended's doing it for me. It's just a lot.
Yeah, and then the last thing is I rewatched Friendship, which we reviewed just a few months ago, the Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd comedy.
Yeah.
Even better on second watch. So funny. There's so many jokes. I forgot half of them by the time the second rewatch came around and was still laughing tons. Does better. Even better the second time. Still drags a little bit kind of in the middle towards the end, a little bit of a pacing issue, but man, it is so funny, and there's still so much cringe. It's great.
Yeah, I need to. Where did you watch it? Like VOD? You watch it with some friends? It's not streaming anymore.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, just
I gotta
VOD.
get back on it. Yeah, dude. Like I'm a big Robinson fan already. I need to turn you on to a couple of like Connor O'Malley bits. Like I need to send you some YouTube videos. There's some great stuff out there. And like Friendship is a small piece of a larger comedy puzzle that I've just been starting to crack into online. Like there's some really great creators in there. Connor O'Malley's great. I watched one movie, Phone Booth, from 2002, directed by Joel Schumacher, the director of Batman Forever, which I had to look up right before we started here because I could have sworn it was Jerry Bruckheimer, and it's not. It's not a Jerry Bruckheimer movie. But Phone Booth is that movie with Colin Farrell in a phone booth the whole time. You know that movie, right? From like the early 2000s. Like the whole thing basically plays in real time. It originally came from a Hitchcock idea. Somebody had approached Alfred Hitchcock in the 60s about a movie that's all set in real time. And they'd worked out that it was going to be a guy in the phone booth, but they couldn't work out why he would be stuck there. Why couldn't the guy just leave the booth over the course of the movie? And they just never worked it out. And then in the 90s, after Hitchcock died, I forget the name of the guy who had approached him with it. He said he came up with the sniper. There's a sniper on him, of course. Somebody's got a gun on him. That's why he can't leave. And then, I don't know, it got worked into a Joel Schumacher project. Surprisingly good. I feel like I remember people hating on that movie because it didn't go anywhere. It's just a one location thing. But it made a bunch of money at the box. It was like a $13 million shoot. It made like $100 million. Like it made its money back. It seemed to be a success. And Colin Farrell he's a young gun in that movie, man. 2002 Colin Farrell. Like he is like doing this New York accent that's really not that convincing. But he looks great. You know, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's a good time.
Man, I definitely, not only have I seen that, I saw it in theaters. I'm pretty sure, because I know, and I won't spoil it. I know who the sniper is.
Yeah,
Dun, 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 dun.
You still remember? Yeah, profound ending, obviously.
Yeah, I remember because it's a big part of the movie. It's not like big secret. Yeah, I remember it being thrilling. You know, short 80-minute film, and I didn't realize it was that successful. But yeah, I totally saw that.
Yeah, 81 minutes. Yeah, Forrest Whitaker's in it as a cop. Good stuff. Anyway, we got to talk about the news. Our first story this week. Denis Villeneuve's doing a James Bond movie. Dude, I can't believe this. This is like if you're a film head, if you keep up with a lot of movie news, this was like groundbreaking news when this got announced. Amazon has been looking for somebody to take on the next James Bond project. It's been up in the air. We've had some favorites, but now we officially have a name. The director of Dune, Blade Runner 2049, Arrival, Enemy, Sicario, Incendies. Denis Villeneuve is taking this on. Huge news. What do you know about this?
Like we said, MGM and Amazon is just running. They've hit the ground running since they got the green light to develop these Bond properties. The Barbara Broccoli and Eon had been holding this up for years. It's literally been 4 years since the last Bond movie, and now that they've got the green light, they're just hitting the ground running. There's a game, there's going to be a TV series, and now we got like the first official movie. Apparently Denis Villeneuve is a huge Bond fan, and we love to hear because he also talked about how much of a Dune fan he was, and we got an incredible pair of movies out of that. And so I think he's going to bring that same authenticity to this, but I really don't know how he's going to do in kind of an established franchise. He's going to put some sort of new spin on it, because that's what you got to do with these movies. You got to reinvent the wheel a little bit, but it's hard to say because the rest of his filmography is largely sci-fi as of late. And so I have no idea what direction he'll go. I think the bigger question right now is, who will the next Bond be?
Yeah,
who are some of these top names?
Top names that I saw are Jacob Elordi. Let's see. Tom Holland, right? And Harris Dickinson. Those are the three that I saw in the running. I don't know if I love any of them. I think you said you saw Aaron Taylor Johnson, which is probably, I think, the best of those four. But what do you got?
Right. So yeah, I saw that list too. That like the short list was Tom Holland, Harris Dickinson, and Jacob Elordi, and those are all terrible picks. Like Tom Holland is just a real small guy, and he just doesn't fit. And then like Jacob Elordi is the opposite. He's like 6'6". He's like a huge. Same thing with Harris Dickinson. They just don't quite feel it. But I was listening to a different podcast that was talking about like the bookies who gamble on this sort of thing. Were saying that the top two were Aaron Taylor Johnson is the main one. He's like the 10 to 11 odds. And then second place was Theo James, who we saw recently in The Monkey. But those are kind of the top two contenders. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson could definitely do that role. He's the right age. He's got a great physique. He's in good shape. He's a good point in his career. It's a weird balance because like you don't want a newbie who's not established, but you also don't want like a veteran actor. Like I've heard Idris Elba thrown around. He's kind of too old. Like it's generally someone in their like their 30s. Henry Cavill was mentioned too. Same thing, too old. He's about 10 years too old for the role.
We've all been, yeah, and part of the reason that's a problem is because we've been fan casting for nearly a decade, and the Broccoli estate, like you said, just wouldn't move on anything. They wouldn't make a game, they wouldn't make a podcast, they wouldn't make a movie. And we talked about this a couple months ago when Amazon kind of wrested control from them. Like it was like they had sold everything to Amazon through MGM, but then they wouldn't agree to anything. And it was like, what did you guys think you were selling exactly? Like when you sell something, you have to give away the rights to it. So now that Amazon's got it, we've got some movement. I don't know if the game is any indication, but I know the people that make the Hitman games are making a 007 game. They released a trailer. Young gun. He's young, blonde haired, kind of out of everybody announced, kind of looks like Tom Holland a little bit. Now, that's not indicating that's going to be the same thing. The game is different from the movies, but this is at least the first like creative notion we have seen from the studio of what a young Bond might look like. And he looks a bit like a young Daniel Craig, right? Young, blonde, a little bit like a young Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland might be a favorite just because he gets that Spider-Man love, right? Like he was the new guy in that franchise and look how good it did. Wouldn't it be great to sign him to a few features here? But personally, yeah, I think you skew older. I think Theo James is a smart pick. I think Aaron Taylor-Johnson's a smart pick. The other guys are fine. But with a casting like this, with Denis Villeneuve at the top, I don't know who they're going with.
You need someone who can be a bit of a brawler. Like Bond is known for, being able to go fisticuffs and wrestle and throw people around, in addition to like the suaveness and like the shoot 'em up stuff too. It's a very physical role, and like Tom Holland's just too small. I mean, that's part of the reason he was chosen for Spider-Man, was because he was tiny and could do, and he was a gymnast and could do like the flips and stuff. Like that's part of you. That's actually him doing a lot of the stunts on screen, but that doesn't transfer for Bond.
Yeah, he's not a womanizer. I'm not gonna believe it when Tom Holland like slaps a woman and is like, sit down, right? Like he's not. I'm not gonna go for that. And that's what Bond is really. It is deep gooey center. I figured maybe for the parkour stuff that he was doing in Casino Royale. I mean, he can kind of do that, but yeah. I'm kidding about the woman stuff. That's not. Yeah,
that is an interesting thing. Is that's the character that Bond has traditionally been, is this womanizing spy, and it's like you gotta. That's the challenge. Is how do you? That's not really acceptable anymore in cinema, but that's also part of the character. So I'm not sure how you balance that out in 2025. But we'll see at some point, because they are moving on this movie.
One more button on this Bond story before we move on. There was a rumor, and it's strictly a rumor. We got nothing firm on this, that Christopher Nolan was in big talks to do this movie, but he wanted Final Cut. That's his thing. Nolan always gets Final Cut on his movies, and Amazon couldn't do it. They were like, nope, we're not doing it. So Villeneuve agreed to do this movie with the condition that MGM Amazon is getting Final Cut on it. So he is still doing it in handcuffs, and that's okay, because he seems to be interested, and he seems to want it. He's wanted to do it for a long time. That's sick. He'll be doing it after Dune Messiah. So he's shooting Dune right now, Dune 3. Following that, James Bond's getting shot. And then after that, he claims he's finally going to get to one of those personal projects he wants to do, that Rama movie in space. And he's got something about a bomb.
Rendezvous with Rama, yeah.
Rendezvous with Rama, yeah. He's been talking about wanting to do that movie for a decade. So I don't know. Either way, keep it here for more Bond news. We will follow up when we know more. From David Fincher, or not David Fincher, Social Network is getting a sequel with Aaron Sorkin writing and directing for Sony. The Social Network was I just shot in the dark 2012 drama from David Fincher and written by Aaron Sorkin about the founding of Facebook, starring Jesse Eisenberg as Mark Zuckerberg and a young Andrew Garfield as his good friend, and Justin Timberlake is another character in there. Quite the film, big drama, praised for its work. Got nominated for a couple Oscars. Now it's getting a sequel, but David Fincher's not a part of it. What do you know about this, Andy?
Right, this was another big announcement of a sequel to The Social Network, which initially sounds silly, but I mean, Facebook is still around and has been still continues to be very influential on the world in a number of ways, and it's changed a lot from 2010, and that movie was about its founding back in 2002 2003. So I mean, it's been 20 years later, a lot's changed. So it's not a terrible idea. I think Aaron Sorkin directing is a terrible idea. He's great at this. He's great at script writing, but like in the director's chair, I just don't think he's it. Some of his other movies include Molly's Game, Trial of the Chicago 7, which we did review on this show, and like that movie was just kind of okay, and I'm afraid that this will just be kind of okay as well.
Yeah, I'm not excited about Sorkin directing it either, namely because Fincher is a favorite director of mine, and he did such a great job with the first film, like creating a world and a visual identity and managing to work really closely with the actors and Sorkin to nail this very dense script into something that's much tighter, like it's very dense dialogue. And I have no doubt Sorkin can do that, right? Like I've seen a couple Sorkin movies, I like him fine. What frustrates me as a Fincher fan is Fincher isn't shooting this because he's going to be too busy shooting Quentin Tarantino's script. He's doing that for the Adventures of Cliff Booth thing with Brad Pitt after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like Tarantino's too scared to direct his 10th movie, so Fincher's going to do that. And when he's not doing that, he's going to be doing American Squid Game for Netflix. Which is like, who the hell wants that? Like Fincher's over here in Netflix land, like getting pulled around doing stupid projects, and meanwhile, like Social Network is maybe one of the best films of the last 20 years, and he's passing on it because he's too busy. Like awful, dude. Like awful.
Yeah, these Netflix is like corralling these great directors into these really mediocre projects. It's really not great.
No, it's a bummer. Like it reminds me of the opposite of like Universal, right? Universal is kiting like Daniels and Jordan Peele and getting like really great. Zach Cregger's new movie Weapons, I think, is through Universal. Like getting really great creative directors into a space so they can make something new. They pulled Nolan in for Oppenheimer. Like meanwhile, Netflix is like just locking people up over there, man. And like he's getting a bag and he's getting paid, and that's great. And I like Killer just fine, but it frustrates me that Fincher is not a part of whatever is next for the Social Network, because I think that is so much Aaron Sorkin and David Fincher's movie, and it's just a bummer he's not going to be a part of it. That's what I think. Also, one quick note: I think Jesse Eisenberg back as Mark Zuckerberg would be great, because Zuckerberg could play this version of Zuckerberg where he is now, where Zuckerberg is trying so hard to be this manly, masculine version of himself. Yeah, like an MMA fighter. And Eisenberg so isn't that. And I think that might be really clever for capturing how we see Zuckerberg now as this guy who's like trying to be tough and like, oh yeah, I'm a big manly man. And it's like, I don't know if anybody sees it that way, guy. And like that insecurity could be a good performance in there. I don't know.
Great angle.
One more. Yeah, I'd do anything. One more story from the box office. Brad Pitt's F1 zooms to a big opening, and Megan 2.0 is a huge bomb for Blumhouse. Big surprise for Megan heads out there, dude. I really thought this movie was going to do better.
It's Megan 2.0 over.
2.0.
I took all week coming up with that. Yeah, good weekend at the box office. F1 the movie came in at 55 million domestic, 144 global. That was they were hoping for about 40 to 50 million, so that's above expectations. Apple is very happy with it. It's the first like successful Apple movie, like because they keep financing these real expensive projects that don't really make money, so they're happy with that. It's unclear how expensive that movie was. I've heard 200 million. I've heard 300 million. We don't really know. So it's going to need to make probably between 5 and 600 million to be profitable, but it's well on its way. Big success. We'll be talking about it more later. How to Train Your Dragon came in second with 19 million. 450 million for How to Train Your Dragon remake. So we're going to continue to get live action remakes because they're very successful. Elio came in third with 10 million and 72 million worldwide. Man, we just heard some more about that movie, that it was basically butchered after its initial kind of test screenings and into some sort of thing that it absolutely wasn't. They took out a lot of story elements and character elements and tried to just make it a lot different, more, I guess, acceptable to certain audiences, and it just got butchered. And they might as well have left it alone because it's just a bomb.
Yeah, Elio's a disappointment for Pixar, and I'm a Disney Pixar fan, and like I should be going to see it. My poor Christine was like, "Hey, when does that new Pixar movie come out?" I was like, "It came out 2 weeks ago." Like, what? I'm like, "Yeah, it just came out." She's like, "Are you watching it for the show?" I was like, "No, we're totally skipping it." Like normally I would, but A, it's July. There's a lot of good stuff out. B, I don't know. Like I just looks a little. It doesn't look like it's got. I don't know. I've heard good things though. I should say. I know a couple people, fans of the show, wrote in. They said they actually liked it a lot, and we should check it out. So we might get around to it in a slower month for sure. It's like not to say we're not going to catch it. Meanwhile, big win for Apple, dude, and they needed it. Like I really like what Apple's been doing with film. They've been funding really great projects like Killers of the Flower Moon, really odd long shot bombs like Matthew Vaughn's Argyle. It's frustrating they won't put these things on Blu-ray, but outside of that, it's good to see them get a win with F1. Even better to see F1 locking up IMAX screens for 2 fat weeks so Jurassic World has to sit on Dolby and XD instead of going into the big screen with everybody else. Because F1 was shot with IMAX, and as we know, if you shoot your movie with IMAX cameras, IMAX gives you a lot more love. So they'll have IMAX locked down until July 11th, and Superman comes out. Superman hops into IMAX, and then I bet right after that it's Fantastic Four, right? Yeah, surely Fantastic Four is getting IMAX screens. So as far as the big screens go, that's a big part of the reason F1's doing well. Not to mention its overseas, audience. I think a lot of folks over there like it a lot more than here in the U.S.
Yeah, it's doing really well internationally. F1 is, of course, a more international sport and known throughout the world more than in the U.S. Megan 2.0 came in at just 10 million, 17 million worldwide. This is a huge bomb for this. They really took a gamble on it. The first movie was made for $10 million and went on to make like over 250 million. So it was a huge success. They kind of tried to replicate it. They doubled the budget, and it just didn't hit with audiences. Allegedly, it's just a different kind of movie. They've abandoned the horror element, and it's just kind of an action comedy, and just no one's buying it. The first movie also came out in January, which is a very dead time for movies, so it didn't have any competition. And now this one came out in summer, where there's loads of competition. So it seems like Blumhouse just overplayed their hand. They'll be all right in the end because the budget wasn't too outlandish, but it's not the sensation that the first one was, unfortunately.
Yeah, there was some quote from like one of the screenwriters or something of Megan, and somebody had asked him, do you think they can keep making sequels after this one? And they were like, I think we could see 5 more Megan movies in theaters. And I thought I'd love to see that. Sure, yeah, well, why not? We'd love to see more Megan. Seems like he can't. It's hard to capitalize camp, man. Like when Megan says it's Britney bitch in the first movie, it's like funny and campy and clever. But when you make a whole second movie about how she says stuff like that all the time, it's you overplayed your hand, and it's cloying, and people just don't go for it. It surprises me because like I really figured Megan had an audience that would turn out regardless, but it turns out not so, man. Plus, I don't know, you had mentioned last week people are already doing horror for 28 years later. I spent too much time in the box office. We got to get to our first movie. I'm over here babbling. We got to start talking about this thing. Any other thoughts on this for jumping to F1?
Just real quick, 28 years later came in 5th place at just under 10 million for the weekend. It's crossed 100 million worldwide. I think it's going to be in profit territory soon, which means we probably will be getting that third movie after the Bone Temple. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, me too. 20 years later was good stuff. If you want to check out our review, we did that just last week. You can find it on the channel. You can find it on your podcast outlets. Wherever you're checking this out, it's probably like just a couple clicks away. So while you're at it, click like, subscribe, notify, all that usual stuff. Every little bit helps, we swear. Anyway, we got to get to the first movie of the episode. Andy's going to be taking the summer on this one. Andy, please take it away.
F1, the movie. Or better known as F1. This is, of course, the follow-up from Joseph Kosinski, director of Top Gun Maverick, which was a huge sensation. This is, in a lot of ways, a spiritual sequel because it's a fast-paced. They instead of putting the cars in the planes, you have the cameras on the planes. You have the cameras on the cars racing through. The plot, which is really thin and a little paint by number, stars Brad Pitt as veteran racer Sonny Hayes, who we find living in a van down by the river, but is still racing Daytona in a 24-hour race. When we meet him, he wins. He's the best. He's approached by Javier Bardem, who's the owner of this fledgling F1 racing team called Apex Racing. They're struggling. They're in last place. They don't have a single point, haven't won a single race. And Brad Pitt's character, Sonny Hayes, is recruited to lift the team spirits, to teach the young guy, Joshua Pierce, played by Damson Idris, said, we got a young driver. He's hungry. He's talented, but he needs good guidance. Can you come in? And Sonny Hayes kind of can do no wrong. He he trains the young guy. First they butt heads, but then they find common ground, work together, succeed. Kerry Condon is the technical director. She helps design the cars. They have a bit of a romance. He helps. He basically everything gets better around Sunny Hayes. The plot is a little thin, but the racing is exquisite. These are the scenes that everyone's going for, and it's really thrilling. They develop new technology for these cars. Joseph Kosinski is actually a trained engineer. He was an engineer before getting into film, so he's actually helped develop these camera systems that they use. But it's thrilling, and the actors are actually driving these cars, probably not at 300 miles an hour, but they are actually driving because there aren't room for two drivers. So it's thrilling. The racing stuff works really well. Plot, not quite so much. Zach, what'd you think?
So I liked F1 for its speed and for its energy and for its tenacity. Like, Brad Pitt's great to look at. Javier Bardem's great. Kerry Condon, Damson Idris. Cast is great. The action is incredible. It's some of the best stuff I've seen in a cinema from a car. Like, cars that are moving 200 miles an hour, these incredible practical rigs shot on IMAX. It looks so good in open matte, dude. Seeing the world fly by them at 200 miles an hour is incredible. Like, not to mention the overtakes, the turns, the pits, like, all that stuff is awesome, and it is a great view into what F1 is, especially as an American who does not know it that good. That being said, the script is almost too paint by numbers. It's almost too cliche to a point where by the end of it, it approaches parody. You pointed this out to me. We were talking about this just the other night. Like, there were scenes that got laughs towards the end of the movie because it is so cliche, on the nose, paint by numbers, exactly how you'd expect it to go. And that's probably the weakest point of the movie. Like, a script that is maybe too safe, like that got past it's like it was written by AI or something. It got past everybody as just like the best, easiest, most digestible version of man rides in from out of town, helps out the rookie, saves the day. I don't know. It's a modern Western, but it's almost too Western. I don't know. It's not Western at all. I don't know what I'm saying. What did you think about it, Andy?
The script remind me of a script outline. Whenever you begin writing your script and you're kind of thinking through your characters, you'll think, okay, this is the protagonist, and he is, he's good at this thing, and this is his character flaw, and then here's our protagonist, and here's this, and they're going to clash, and this is how this movie reads, it like an outline, because it's so cliche. It reminds me of the 90s sports movies, the things like Rookie of the Year, or a good friend of ours said it's like the Mighty Ducks for racing. It is dumbed down so much. And especially the racing. Another friend of mine who knows F1 said they were really frustrated at like the kind of spoon feeding of the rules and the strategy and like all this kind of stuff, that if you're a fan, and this happens in most cinema, if you're an expert in the subject matter, you're probably going to have some nitpicks with it. But I think for entry level people like myself, it is really thrilling. Like, when they're in the cars, like, car go fast around track. That's all that matters. And especially for, I think, younger viewers that might be new, this might be their first kind of big blockbuster movie, I think they're going to love it.
Yeah, it's like Brad Pitt's Moneyball meets like Robert Redford's The Natural, right? Like, that's what we've got. We open with Brad Pitt, who is a successful race car driver, but like lives in a trailer on his own, doesn't talk to anybody. He's a wonder kid, but he's kind of by himself. And when he gets approached by a very passionate Javier Bardem, who plays Ruben Cervantes, to get into F1, the absolute elite, to say you are the best of the best ever, you know what I mean? Like, the furthest you can go, he can't help but jump at that chance. And then when he joins the team, he meets our young rookie, who of course thinks he's full of it because he's some guy from out in the middle of nowhere. He meets Kerry Condon, who's this attractive woman who they kind of fancy one another. Maybe that'll turn into a thing. And then over the course of the movie, they have to try to win races. He has to get along with the rookie, find his place on the team, and hopefully help them take the championship at the end. Like, it sounds cheesy, me just saying it. Like, it's like it's safe on purpose. Like, it's safe on purpose because they got to sell this movie to a lot of people, and it makes it a great dad movie. But man, it is not complex in the turns. Like, it does not get that complicated. It is pretty straight through, and that is a shame because I think it's shot so well. Like the car stuff is just so cool, man. Like it's silly to say that the plot is a downside because it isn't. It's fine, but it's just fine in comparison to stuff that is truly incredible, like groundbreaking cinema.
Yeah, it's been really interesting hearing how this was made. It all started with Joseph Kosinski had an idea to do an F1 movie, and he happened to know Lewis Hamilton, who's a famous F1 driver. And he texted him, and he was like, "Hey, do you think I could come and kind of sit in the pit or sit in the garage, kind of see?" Lewis Hamilton is interested in making movies and maybe being in the movies. And so it was a perfect marriage. He invited Kosinski to come down to the Mercedes garage, watch them work on cars, be in the pit. And they filmed this movie at actual F1 events. A lot of times kind of between when there was downtime or between races, they would have our actors go out and film, or they'd film a scene in the pit, and then like the race would continue. They got loads of sponsorship, which I think helped offset the cost. A lot of the real teams wanted to be involved. Expensify, which we see everywhere. I thought it was a fake brand. Apparently it's a real brand, and they paid big money to be the sponsor. The faux sponsorship or the sponsor for the faux car. So it's a real interesting marriage of cinema and industry, putting two things together that are already successful and making it work for a general audience.
That's a really great observation because I couldn't help but look at all the sponsor deals, right? Like in any racing event, you're like covered in patches or logos that say the car is sponsored by Tommy Hilfiger or Expensify. Bell has two things on every helmet in like every helmet shot, right? Like I totally get that being there. But that marriage of industry and cinema creates a very finite space for danger in these races, which is wildly effective, dude. When we actually hit the track and take off, it is so chaotic and rumbling and loud. And you see these cars whizzing by each other, going 230 miles an hour on the straights. And you like your camera's mounted in the car. Like you feel that danger in a way that like you just don't get on broadcast television when the camera's pulled way back. Even GoPros don't quite get it the way these IMAX cameras do. Kosinski managed to capture something truly incredible in here. Like this is some of the best car camera work you will probably ever see. It is incredible work. I could not recommend seeing it in an IMAX more. Like it looks so good, dude. Like I can't believe how fast the turns are, how fast things move, like just the speed of motion that when you feel like, even when you see cars in lockstep racing at 200, just the smallest thing going wrong could wreck everything. Like crazy danger. And that really highlights just how difficult this gig is for Sonny Hayes and for Joshua Pierce, right? Like it is not for everybody. Everybody struggles. It's funny to see them interact with one another because Joshua Pierce is like training every morning, hooked up on like a treadmill with like an oxygen thing, and he's got little nodules attached to him that are tracking his heart rate and everything. And Sonny Hayes
is the Rocky Four.
Yeah, he's jogging outside of the track in like a crappy pair of All-Stars he's had for years, right? And slowly people who work in the garage are like, hey, that Sonny Hayes guy is kind of cool. I think I might try jogging with him, like he starts to win people over. And like, it's just because he's charming, right? He's Brad Pitt and he oozes charm. He's the strong silent type. But he also, on top of playing this natural, I mentioned Moneyball earlier, Sonny Hayes is coming in with an outsider perspective. And while everybody at F1 is playing by these rules, especially Team Apex, he says we have to start building our cars for combat. We have to start changing the way we race, because if we keep racing the way we've been racing, we're going to lose. And that's a little bit of the Moneyball in there, right? Where he's changing the idea of the strategy and doing things that are radically different. It's a perfect space for Pitt to play in because he manages to hold this serious note while also being a bit of a maverick, right? Fitting, I think, for the role.
Yeah, this reminds me, like I said, of a lot of '90s sports movies, particularly in baseball. Would Major League things that were guilty of this? Once your like hot shot gets injured or whatever, you have to come up with some like kooky strategies, and he ends up doing that. And this is where some of like the real racing fans have been rolling their eyes that like you would get disqualified for that, you would get penalized for that, you wouldn't be able to do. But it's like it's the movies. You got to enjoy the movies. I wanted to talk about performances a little bit. We do have a really good cast. Javier Bardem is great as the team owner. He's like the business version of Sonny Hayes, where he's willing to take all the risks and be reckless in business. Kerry Condon is really good as the technical director, the car designer, former, and they kind of give her this redemption arc where she was like, well, she was at Lockheed Martin, but she came over, decided to race instead. Damson Idris, I feel like, doesn't get enough screen time, and because we don't really get an old v young, it's really just the old telling everyone what to do. I said this before, it's very kind of boomer coded movie where Sonny Hayes, first of all, Brad Pitt is 61 and looks amazing. I was like, he looks like a 40-year-old man, and he's just he can do no wrong. At one point, he's like, "You need to get off that phone. You need to get off social media." And I was like, "Oh, come on, how old are we here?" But the cast is fun. He has a kind of a similar but different charm from Tom Cruise. Like Tom Cruise will entertain via spectacle by jumping on and off of trains. Brad Pitt is more just like his on-screen presence, his charm, his like elderly wisdom and his smile and all those things. But it, like, I hate to say it, but it works. It does.
Yeah, I agree. I think F1's like eating a really great hamburger in a super mid restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, you're probably not going to go back to, even though, man, that hamburger was so sick. It is a great July movie. It is big summer. It is big action. It is big cast. It's big passion for sure. I think those of us who are, big film guys, were just looking for something a little toothier from Kosinski. And in the action, it's there. Like, in the car, it's there. On the ground, it just feels a little paint by numbers. And I keep seeing people say, "Is F1 a bad movie?" And I don't think it is. I don't think it's a bad movie. But I also don't know how quickly I'm going to be racing to check it out again. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's played its hand. It's shown me everything I was going to get out of it. Maybe I'm just not a big enough fan, but I do think it's a good time. I do want to say that. We should probably get into recommendations. One more thing before I hand it over to Andy for final thoughts. Hans Zimmer score, I liked it. I've heard people say it's bad. I thought it was okay. It's got some techno in the house. I don't know. Your mileage may vary. I thought it was a fine Zimmer score.
I heard people saying it was amazing, and I was really looking forward to it, and I decided it was okay. Like, it's not, like I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's amazing either. It's just it gets the job done.
Yes,
I'm not putting the soundtrack on.
I definitely got let in with people saying it's one of his best ever, and then I started watching and was like, oh, okay, hold on now. Who are we to say this is Zimmer's best? Any other thoughts for recommendations, Andy?
I think I'm ready.
Andy, would you recommend F1?
Overall, I would. It is a great experience, even if it's kind of a weak, scripted movie. The car stuff and the racing is amazing, and see it on the biggest screen possible. This is the kind of thing where your home setup is just not going to do it justice. It's one of those where it feels like a ride, kind of like Top Gun Maverick. The theatrical experience is where it's at. We have good performances. It's fun. It's a little long at 2.5 hours, and the script is very kind of paint by number. It's very predictable, but it's a fun, good time at the movies. Take your dad.
Yeah, I agree. It's a great time. See it on the biggest screen you can see it. Because when you watch it at home, you're right, the car stuff is not going to hit as good, and you're probably going to feel deflated by a plot that is far too predictable. It is fun. If you don't go watch a lot of movies, it's a solid entry in July. I know, what do we got in July here? We got this, we got Jurassic World, Superman, Fantastic Four. If you were only going to go to a couple of those, I would probably recommend F1 be one of those movies. Like, I think it is a solid entry. Take your girlfriend, take your guy friend, whatever. Go check out F1. It's good. F1's a good movie. There. I said it. That's it. That's the review. We got to talk about trailers, Andy. What do we call this section?
It's time for the trailer park.
So the first trailer we're talking about this week is a movie called Roofman, which is coming from director Derek Cianfrance, who, if you don't remember, directed Blue Velvet and Place Beyond the Pines. Done a couple other things since. Did an HBO show with Mark Ruffalo called I Know This Much Is True, but since then he's been kind of quiet, and this is his first film back in the big screen, it looks like. It stars Channing Tatum and Kirsten Dunst, and Peter Dinklage also is in this movie, a couple others as well. It is a comedy based on a true story, about a man named Jeffrey Manchester, who is a escaped convict who ended up holing up in the back of a Toys R Us for months, evading capture. And in the meantime, to get by, he was leaving in the evening and robbing overnight McDonald's stores and locking the staff in the overnight in the lock-in freezer.
The freezer, yeah.
Yeah. Over the course of the movie, Channing Tatum, who plays our lead, Jeffrey, is living in the back of the store when he meets a woman played by Kirsten Dunst. And he starts to kind of talk to her and starts to maybe develop a bit of a relationship with her. And he starts to trek outside the store while store manager Peter Dinklage is starting to realize something's not quite right around here and starts to maybe figure out that something's going wrong. Stock is going missing. Candy's going missing overnight. What's happening here? Somebody might be living in the store. That's the comedy caper. The movie is Roofman. We have a trailer for it. What do you think, Andy? What do you think of Roofman?
So I haven't seen a Derek Cianfrance movie in a long time, and Blue Velvet and a place beyond the pines are very heavy movies. Those are both very serious. Blue Velvet is heartbreaking. It's about the heartbreaking end of a relationship with Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams. A Place Beyond the Pine is also Ryan Gosling, and it's a heavy drama. It involves Eva Mendes, cops and robbers thing. Bradley Cooper's in the final third of it. Those are very serious, heavy movies, and this looks like a lot of fun. Like it's just strange. It's like Whiplash because this is a comedy. It's a crime comedy caper thing. This looks like a lot of fun. If it wasn't Cianfrance, I probably wouldn't be interested in see it. But he's a great director, so I'm definitely interested in it.
Yeah, it reminds me a bit of like Logan Lucky, especially with Channing Tatum in the middle of like a low budget comedy. Yeah, it's like odd, unique, coming from a filmmaker I wouldn't expect it from. Might be okay. Yeah, we'll see.
So next we have Bugonia, which is the latest from Yorgos Lanthimos, who of course did Poor Things, again starring Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. Jesse Plemons is kind of what looks like to be the lead of this, and he's just a regular worker, and he's doing this monologue about the worker bees working for the queen bee. Queen bee, played by Emma Stone, as like a high-powered CEO. Him and some other coworkers decide to kidnap her, and this is where it actually gets weird because they're like, she's an alien, and we need to, I don't know, destroy her or something. We don't really know what's going on. It's going to be some weird freak stuff because it's Lanthimos, and he always makes like weird stuff that we love, but it's maybe not for everybody. But Emma Stone always does super interesting projects, and this was a good first trailer. Definitely interested in seeing this. This comes out in October as well.
Yeah, I love the font of the title choice on this. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. It might as well just say like freaks only. It's such a weird looking movie, and we had heard about this after Yorgos Lanthimos' last picture. He'd been working on this a minute. He already had half the cast picked out. Yeah, Plemons and Emma Stone are returning from his previous movie. This looks like a ton of fun. It's totally not a movie you take your parents to. I don't know who it's for, but man, I'm gonna love watching it. So yeah, Bugonia looks like a great time. We're gonna talk about the trailer for Project Hail Mary. This is a highly anticipated return to the big screen from Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who directed the Lego Movie, right? They haven't done live action in a minute. They did a part of Solo, I think, a Star Wars story. That was their movie for a minute before Ron Howard took it over when Disney didn't like their cut of it. But now they are back with Project Hail Mary, which is an adaptation of an Andy Weir novel. He was the writer of The Martian, which also got adapted into a movie starring Matt Damon. Did really well. Project Hail Mary is the story of Ryland Grace, who is oh gosh, I don't know how much I should say about this. I've read the book, so I don't want to give too much away. Ryland Grace is a astronaut who wakes up in a derelict ship, essentially out in the middle of space, and has no idea who he is or what he's doing there. And slowly, over the course of the story, Ryland puts together that he has been sent out on a savior mission to save Earth by traveling to a very distant star on the other side of the galaxy, using all of Earth's resources to create this ship called the Hail Mary to get him and a small crew all the way over there to harvest this resource and hopefully send some of it back to Earth before everything goes wrong and Earth is essentially destroyed. It's much more complicated than that. Well, not that much more complicated, but it is big visuals, big lenses. Also stars Sandra Hüller and Ryan Gosling, like I said, as our lead. It's like The Martian, mostly Ryan Gosling by himself. It's going to be a bit of Ryan Gosling by himself. There does end up being some more social stuff, and they do play around a bit with jumping back and forth between timelines to give you, so it's not just like one guy the whole time. There is actually a lot more happening under the surface, and it's a very expressive trailer. I think if you've read the book, you feel like it gives a lot away. If you haven't read the book, you probably don't really know what it gives away, and that's fine. Andy, what'd you think of the trailer for Project Hail Mary?
I think this looks like a lot of fun. Love Gosling. His career is kind of in a tepid place where he's a star, but he kind of hasn't had a hit since Barbie, and he wasn't actually the lead in Barbie. So we'll see. This looks like a lot of fun, and it's like The Martian. It's very kind of tongue-in-cheek, very upbeat. It's a comedy, what it looks like. But I'm worried that it's going to kind of take the place of Mickey 17. It's that mid-spring weird sci-fi movie that maybe people don't come out to see. So I'm a little worried that it may not find an audience.
One more thing about it I wanted to say, I forgot to mention. It is directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, starring Ryan Gosling. It's shot by Greg Fraser, which is exciting if you're a cinematography head. Greg Fraser shot The Batman. He shot... oh God, now I'm slipping. What else did he shoot? He shot a couple of movies that I thought were really cool looking that I'll look up while Andy's talking about this next trailer. Andy, what's next?
Sentimental Value. So this is the first trailer from this movie. Premiered at the Cannes Film Festival just last month, actually, and it won the second place, the Grand Prix prize there. It's a big awards contender, and we finally have a full trailer for this thing. This stars Renata Reinsve, who was in Joaquin Trier's previous movie, The Worst Person in the World, and also Stellan Skarsgård and Elle Fanning. Stellan Skarsgård plays a film director who is coming back to his hometown and city house that him and his family grew up in to film a fairly autobiographical movie. He wants his daughter, played by Reinsve, to be in the film and play a part. I think play the mother possibly in this, and she doesn't want anything to do with it because he's been a bit of an absentee father. He's been this famed director, and he's been out of their lives. She doesn't want to have anything to do with it. And meanwhile, Elle Fanning, who's a movie star in the movie, is coming in to play roles within the family, which also makes it kind of strange. So we have this very kind of dysfunctional family forced to be together because they don't really want anything to do with it. Like the young daughters don't want anything to do with their director dad because they feel like he's just abandoned them. But this looks real interesting, and I'm definitely excited to do it. It's supposed to be a big awards contender. Apparently it's a tearjerker as well, but I'm excited to see that. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I think Sentimental Value looks good. I feel bad. I'd kind of forgotten about it. I know it got some buzz at Cannes, but we were just doing the show outline, and I was like, Andy, what's this movie Sentimental Value about? He was like, oh, I'll tell you all about it. It's this, that. I was like, well, let me trade you for the next trailer. So he was kind enough to explain it all. It looks cool, man. This looks like adults talking in rooms. You know what I mean? There's definitely some women crying in here. Looks like Stellan Skarsgård's getting a little choked up. And big quotes across this thing. Vogue says this is one of the best movies of the year. Pace says, Renee Reinsve? Is that how you say it? She's one of the best actors of her generation. They say this is Stellan Skarsgård's crowning achievement. Like, clearly there is some magic going on here. And the trailer looks real simple. I don't know yet. If I just saw this in a theater, I may not think much of it. But from what we hear, this is quite the picture. So I'm looking forward to finding out more about it. Greg Fraser. I said she's shooting Project Hail Mary. I said I'd go look up what he shot. I did. The Batman, Dune Part 1 and 2, Rogue One, a Star Wars story. He shot Vice with Adam McKay. He shot Zero Dark 30. He shot a lot of cool stuff, all right? Batman was one of the coolest looking comic movies of the last decade, all right? So I'm very much looking forward to Project Hail Mary. Anyway, one more to talk about before we move on. I got to talk about the trailer for The Running Man. Yeah, that new Edgar Wright picture's coming out, starring that Glenn Powell character you might remember from Twisters last year. Running Man stars Powell in an alternate future where the United States has built a show that you can be a part of. And if you can survive for a month as a contestant on this show while the entire country hunts you down and tries to brutally murder you on camera, you get a big payday and can pull your family out of poverty. That's what gets Glenn Powell to sign up anyway. He needs the money. He signs up for the program, and he's got to survive for 30 days. Quite exciting, quite violent, big action. Wouldn't expect any less from Scott Pilgrim, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz director Edgar Wright, Baby Driver director Edgar Wright. And it's a nice return to form because the last couple films we've seen from him were Last Night in Soho, which was a bit underbaked. He did that Sparks Brothers documentary, which I don't really remember hearing a lot about. This seems like a good get back into the action kind of thing. We got cars going through buildings, and we got Glenn Powell running down the thing. Like, looks like a great time. Big action. What do you think, Andy?
Oh, I was really excited about this. I ended up watching this trailer twice in a row because it was so much fun. The Running Man was made by Gore. Is it Gore Verbinski? Or it might have been Verhoeven. That's who it was.
The
starred Arnold
87 feature.
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Right. Starred Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s. And it's kind of a classic of that genre. This looks like much more like an action comedy, but it just looks like so much fun. The action looks great. Reminded me of Return to Form, things like Baby Driver or Hot Fuzz, that kind of thing. Glenn Powell is really funny in his somewhat John Wick-esque role, but the cast is so good. Josh Brolin plays like the evil CEO of the gaming company. The great Coleman Domingo is the game show host who is cooking. All his scenes are electrifying. It's a great cast, a lot of action. I'm super excited for this.
Yeah, Running Man looks like a great time. Like I said, as a Wright fan, I'm looking forward to getting back to basics with him. I hope it's a good time. I like Soho fine, but man, I tried to rewatch it. I liked it even less, man. So like, I don't know. Hopefully Running Man's a hit. I know Glenn Powell's doing great. Sounds like a heater. Could be a good time. Comes out, October? November?
November 7th.
November 7th.
Same day as Sentimental Value.
I'm so bad about saying dates when I talk about these trailers. I got to work on that. Anyway, one more movie to talk about before we wrap up for the week. Really looking forward to talking about this one. I feel like this one doesn't necessarily get a bad rap. I worry people aren't taking it serious because it's a Netflix animated feature. Those are kind of a dime a dozen. This one is special. So I'm going to be taking the summary on it. Please excuse any odd delivery. The movie is K-Pop Demon Hunters. So, K-Pop Demon Hunters is the hot new animated feature from Netflix and more importantly from Sony Pictures Animation, the studio behind the very successful Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movies. They did those Hotel Transylvania movies. They did Mitchell's vs. Machines. It is a singing, dancing, fighting, laughing, crying, very endearing portrait of K-pop culture, right? The bands and the dance numbers and the music videos and the big shows and the bright lights and the huge online fandoms and the culture that inspires all of it. So for the plot, let me get into it. For generations, demons have preyed on humans from the underworld, but they've always been stopped by a generational group of demon hunters who have always been 3 female singers who managed to seal the demon world away with this barrier called the Han Moon, all right? Think of it like a big sheet of plastic wrap, just right on the ground between the demon world and the human world. And every decade or so, a new trio of female singers rise up, use their singing voices to maintain the Han Moon and keep the barrier between the human world and demon world safe. But now it's present day, and our starring K-pop group called Huntrix is a fictional K-pop group who lead double lives as our new generation of demon hunters. By day, they are the hottest K-pop group in the world. By night, they are badass demon hunters. Our 3 stars of the band are Rumi, Mira, and Zoe, who have a bit of a Powerpuff Girls sort of thing going on. Rumi is our lead singer and main character. She's got this long purple hair, she's a big vocalist, except she's got this one little kind of secret she maybe hasn't shared with the whole world yet, that she's kind of got hidden behind closed doors. Mira is our second. She's an aggressive problem child. She's got long red hair and 2 ponytails, and she's the best dancer. And Zoe has short black hair. She's cutesy. She's insecure. She's kawaii. Huntrix is just about to premiere the Song of the Summer and turn the Han Moon gold, which would effectively mean it's locked forever, baby. Demons are never coming back. Forever done. This whole thing, wrapping it up. And it's just as they're about to premiere this new song, right? The Song of the Summer, when a mysterious rival boy band called the Saja Boys, which is a 5-member K-pop boy band who are all secretly demons, they come out of nowhere and immediately start rising up the charts. So now it is a battle of the bands, a race to outperform the Saja Boys, defeat the demons, and seal the Han Moon before it all goes wrong. And K-Pop Demon Hunters available to watch right now on Netflix. This movie premiered at #1 on the platform. It has been wildly successful. And I worry a lot of people just don't look at it because it just seems like another Netflix animated movie. So I was excited to talk about it. We watched it. Andy, what'd you think?
So I was a little apprehensive coming into this because I just thought it would be a very kind of surface level anime, but it's actually a whole lot of fun. And they wrote real songs for this, and actually the leads actually also did choreography as well as singing. The songs are super catchy. Like they have an actual, like, you can listen on Spotify to the album. But the movie's a lot of fun. The animation's really interesting. We have good, PG-13 fight scenes. Our characters are really interesting. They have good dynamics between them, and it's more complex than the good guys and the bad guys, which I didn't expect, and I really enjoyed. We got some gray areas where our good guys and bad guys are maybe not as bad as we think, and also maybe not quite as good as we think. And it's stronger thematically than I thought it was going to be. It's a lot about like being yourself, being your true self, and friendship, the friends we made along the way, all those things. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot more fun than I expected.
Yeah, it's a really good time. And I think it's because of its premise, right? Like on its face, it's easy to compare to something like Turning Red from Pixar, which is like a group of fans who like this one boy band a lot. And that's how you kind of engage with K-pop culture, like from the fan angle. But this goes the opposite way and goes, no, we're following the people who are already hugely famous and have everything going for them and are successful demon hunters already. It's not an origin story. We're not working our way up to it. They are already huge and everybody loves them. So when things go wrong and it becomes a battle of the bands between this exciting new group of boys who they're kind of into and kind of have lovey-dovey eyes for, but not really, because they're also scumbags and they're demons, obviously. You get some good chemistry and you get some exciting stakes that are already high, because it's like, well, we just got to get this one song out and then it's going to be over, right? It's going to be all good. Unless enough people don't listen to it because they're all listening to these Saja Boys guys. So like, surprisingly sharp premise, like especially for a kids movie. It's impressive where it comes in. Additionally, like, we got to talk about the animation. The animation's incredible. Sony Pictures Animation is turning out another banger. It looks so good. Big, bright colors, insane camera angles, wild lens choices, which for like a virtual feature doesn't sound like it'd be a big deal, but it is. And this big stutter effect where they reduce the number of frames, like they cut it out of the animation to give it almost like a stop motion kind of look. Just gives it a visual style and a flair that nothing else really has in the space right now. Makes it feel unique. It looks unique. It's got a unique plot, like all sharp parts of a great theatrical feature, except it's on Netflix.
Yeah, the animation is one of the things I was really impressed by. And we talked about how Pixar has started to kind of, all the movies start to look the same and it all blends together. And that's what I really appreciated about this, was that it just has a very unique look, a unique style. Like one of the big things of K-pop or any pop group is the clothing, the wardrobe, and it's usually very elaborate and very stylish, and that's what we get here. All in their different concert features, they're wearing wildly different outfits and have very different looks. Rumi has this big, huge, like 6-foot braid. Mira has long red hair. Zoe has short black hair. So they have very unique looks and outfits, and it's a lot to animate in these big concert scenes, and along with fight scenes. It's very unique, very entertaining, and it just you're watching something that doesn't look like everything else.
Yeah, the Sony Pictures Animation shared a behind-the-scenes video of just one of the dance numbers in the movie. There's a handful, probably more than a handful, not to mention fight choreography of just like one dance number, the beginning of it, and they had a couple of like 3 dancers out doing it. And that was the basis frame of reference for the animation in the movie. And it's a great reminder that while the movie gets to cut away to different angles and use different cinematic tricks to make something like more exciting and visual and pull away and pull in for close-ups, like all of that choreography is still incredible. Like, and all still takes the work of lifelong dancers who have had to work their whole life to do it. Same goes for the singing. Incredible work. I'm not a big enough K-pop fan to know any of the talent behind this stuff, but from what I've seen, from what I know what it's inspired by, I got a short list here. Bands like BTS, Stray Kids, Big Bang. Huntrix Girls are based off of Blackpink and Twice, who I think actually performs a couple of songs in the movie. Again, I don't really know what these mean, but I do know that they're wildly talented and they're doing really great work. And this just feels like a really great entry point into that culture, because you get so much of it. You get the big shows, you get the big concerts, you get the like flying in the jet to make it to the next show. But in a fictional soft way. It's accessible for kids. But if you're a little older like us and you like this stuff, like it seems like it would be really easy to hit the soundtrack on Spotify and immediately just roll into more music and find a playlist you like and find a band you like.
Yeah, I definitely have a couple of the tracks stuck in my head long after I saw it, which is both annoying, but also it's a great sign that the music is working, and it's a lot of fun. And again, it combines visuals with fun music and great animation. It's a great little movie. It's only 90 minutes long as well.
Yeah. One more thing while I'm thinking about it, I also love the way the movie nails these like Korean television and music video tropes. It took me a little while to pick it out, but like the first time they meet the Saja boys, they have this kind of basically like a meet cute, and it does this thing where it like slows the animation down and puts this music over it and cuts it to the beat, and it looks like an old Korean soap opera or something, like Korean television. Additionally, you get these wonderful sequences that feel like they fell right out of Korean cinema. You get a fight sequence on a train. You get a sequence in a bathhouse. Like you get out to these strange places where you would not expect a film like this to go, pretty much exclusively because it's a part of the culture and it's important, right? You get a street performance at one point where they're singing about vending machines. Like, seems silly to us, but is like wildly apt for the culture and is a dedication to just how coordinated the filmmakers were in like presenting a whole image here, like a whole something. Like the demon stuff is a lot of fun. You get a lot of like old imagery. There's this like cat thing and this bird that are really funny and odd. Incredible costuming. The costumes are all rad. Again, it's a digital film, but like somebody still has to model all that stuff. Somebody still has to make all those assets. Like, just a lot of work, an awful lot of work for what would otherwise be a Netflix animated joint. It's a bummer this didn't come out in theaters. I probably wouldn't have done that well because it's niche. But looking at how well it's doing on Netflix, it seems obvious that like this Sony Pictures has a banger on their hands. This is a good movie.
Yeah, it's really entertaining, and yeah, it would have looked great on the big screen. Like I said, not enough branding, I guess, to kind of put it in that space. I was also just thinking about how our rivalry, but between our two groups that starts is also really fun. Eventually, everyone starts to fawn over the Saja boys, and they start topping the charts, and they start stealing the gigs, and it's also metaphorical as well, but it's just a fun time all around. And yeah, it's a shame that they couldn't get this into theaters.
Yeah, like it's great. Like, yeah, our primary conflict between these two bands is A, like they're a different genre, B, they're Demon Hunters, and C, it's boys and girls. It's like it lands on 3 points. I'm like, dude, this is great. This is great. It's a great script. Like, it's good. It's really good. So I'm running out of good things to say about it. Andy, other thoughts or recommendations?
I'm ready.
Andy, would you recommend K-pop Demon Hunters?
Yeah, I would, even if you're not a fan of K-pop, because I'm not a big K-pop fan myself. But it's really fun. It's funny. It's entertaining. It's got great music that will get stuck in your head. It's also safely violent, so it's good for younger audiences. There's nothing bloody or gory or anything like that. There's some good themes and messages, and it's a quick 90 minutes. So I would definitely recommend it if you have Netflix.
Yeah, same. Solid date night movie. You need something to Netflix and chill, have somebody over, hang out maybe, throw it on. You got kids who haven't seen it and they're like, I just want to watch something on TV. It's colorful. It will keep their attention. They do goofy anime faces. They got fights in there for the boys. Like Andy said, it's not bloody. This is like digital effect thing when they hit them with their magical girl weapons that like looks great and is not at all bloody. Like rock solid. Rock solid work from Sony Pictures Animation. Should probably get some kind of sequel at some point. They could do another movie in this universe. They could keep going with some of these characters. Like I don't know, but like it's good. It's good. It's better than Netflix deserves, I think. And yeah, that's Off Script episode 299. Good Lord, Andy, another one done and dusted. What are we watching next week?
Well, we are actually gonna take the week off with the holiday coming up, but we will return with episode 300 on July 15th with Jurassic World Rebirth, the big dinosaur movie. That's actually coming out tomorrow. There are midnight screenings tonight that apparently the new Chris Nolan movie has a teaser for, and people are going just for that. And also Superman opening on July 11th. So we will definitely have a review for that. And if we get to see the new Chris Nolan teaser, we might make a one-off video as well. There's some streaming stuff coming out as well. I believe The Old Guard 2 is coming out on Netflix. If you're interested in that, we reviewed the first one several years ago. But we're taking a couple of weeks off, or we're taking a week off, and we'll be back with Jurassic World Rebirth and Superman.
That's right. We're traveling for the holiday, celebrating the most patriotic day in America, July 4th, all right? Because that's what Andy and I are, patriots first and movie reviewers second. And I'm going to put a joke on top of a joke here. When we come back after episode 300, everything's going to change. Completely different show, all right? I'm doing everything different. You're not even ready for it. It's going to be amazing. No, 300 is going to be a blast, and I can't wait to do it. Then 301 and 302. If you want to keep up with us and episodes going forward, and especially check out that white hot YouTube channel. Dude, the YouTube channel is killing it. You guys got to go check out YouTube. You can follow us on YouTube at offscriptfilmreview.com. You can check out the audio version of the podcast if you're on a run or in the car or can't watch at Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, iHeartMedia. Just search Off Script Film Review. We're on there. Easy to find, all right? No trouble. You can leave a rating and review while you're in there too. That helps us out on those podcast charts. Our social media is out there: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're doing shorts now. Come check us out on Reels, all right? Like, the show is growing. We'd love for you to be a part of it. If you like what we're doing today, easiest way to do that is like, subscribe, comment, any engagement at all, man. Like, the algo has reduced it down to the simplest of factors. If you click a thing on the video, it's probably going to help us. So stick around and watch one. Watch two, right? Like, hit like again, share it if you want, put a comment on it. Like, everything helps us. We really appreciate you guys checking it out. Our website is offscriptfilmreview.com, where you can see our full reviews, additional content we make, other stuff on the side, and you can email us directly, one-to-one correspondence from you to us at mail@offscriptfilmreview.com. Email, just like the old days. And that's Off Script Film Review episode 299. We'll be back in 2 weeks with episode 300, and I cannot wait. It's going to be a blast. Come back for it. Subscribe in the meantime. We'll let you know when it comes out. And from all of us at Off Script, the home of bold cinema, I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Thanks for watching.